for decades. Healy has been home to Usabelli coal mine since 1943, but you can hardly tell there's a coal mine nearby. That's because every summer, Usabelli employees roll up their sleeves and plant thousands of trees on lands that were once mined for coal. Within a few years, the land is restored to a natural state, ideal habitat for Alaskans of every species. Usabelli Coal Mine, restoring Alaska to the way we found it.
Philanthropy. It does such big things in our community and state. Help honor outstanding Alaskans for their philanthropy at the National Philanthropy Day in Alaska Luncheon on Friday, November 21st at the Denina Center. Visit afpalaska.net. Philanthropy. Big word, big state, big impact. Presented by the Association of Fundraising Professionals, Alaska Chapter, and this station.
Local news, weather, and the Dan Fagan Glen Biegel Show on Hot Talk, KOAN. Brought to you by Knik Country Liquor. With 4 convenient locations in the Valley and Talkeetna, you won't find a better selection.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything, from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth. Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years. I get scared at the dentist. Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley. I know it's important to have good dental health. And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
.635. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron off today. We're broadcasting to you this morning on KOAN, KVNT, streaming on danfagan.us. And our phone number is, we'd love to hear from you. Here's the number. You ready? 569-1080. 569-1080. I'll give it to you one more time. 569-1080. Give us a call. Even if you're just out and about. I noticed the roads are pretty slick out there today. If you're having some trouble commuting, let us know how the traffic is. And
I think particularly south, it might be.
Yes.
It might be even worse.
Yeah. 569-1080. Oh, bless his heart. Old Ivan Moore. Bless his heart.
What?
The
best pollster on planet Earth?
Well, I just love it when he gets in fights with people. And he got in a fight over the Facebook.
Like a literal fist fight? Or?
No.
Oh, okay,
just
okay.
A
spat.
Word fight.
Uh-huh.
And he was talking about how that Mark Begich is going to kick Lisa's butt in 2 years and get her revenge and all this stuff. And
that's going to be a big race. I don't know how that's going to turn out.
And then somebody took issue with him and said, well, didn't you have Begich winning by 7 to 9 points?
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He took 2 polls.
So he was off by 12?
Well, no, let's see. How much did Begich lose by?
3.
Yeah, about that. Double digits. That's
okay.
typical.
10 to 12.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really horrible, by the way. For people who are taking...
Actually, it was even Lotsfeld who took issue with him, I think.
Score.
No, was it Lotsfeld? No, it was Kevin Sweeney, the head of Lisa Murkowski's deal. He even took a shot.
Oh, good.
I'm a little curious about the method you use for your polling.
Now, can I just give my recap of the Democrats over this last election? they wasted tens of millions of dollars. And I'm thankful for it. Look,
What would they have done different?
all these public sector unions and all their union cash and all this effort and all this, you got a 53-46 repeal of AO 37. Well, if you don't win the next mayorship, you know what that $1 million got you? Nothing. Not a doggone thing. So anyway, and all the other races that they spent money on, we have a solidly Republican House, a solidly Republican Senate, and a guy who ran on fiscal conservatism running for governor. I don't know.
What could Begich have done different? Obviously, I'll just answer it first, and I'll get yours. But I don't think there's anything he could have done different. It was just too much baggage. He had a horrible record. He had a horrible president he was aligned with. But even if he hadn't made the terrible ad accusing Dan Sullivan of being pro-rape and murder, is there anything he could have done different?
Well, he could have run against somebody else.
You mean against Dan Sullivan, have a different candidate?
Yeah.
Well, he can't control that.
No, but I'm just saying, I look back at this race, and Dan Sullivan ran the most boring race I think we've ever seen. I can't imagine a more boring race, and it was exactly the right race to run.
Everybody keeps saying that. I thought Sullivan was a good candidate.
No, he is that's my point. Sometimes being boring is what you need to do.
Yeah.
You don't want to get out there and make any hay. He didn't give Begich anything to go off of other than, gee, I wasn't born here. Well, neither was your dad, but I guess that was okay back then.
Right.
And my parents have some money. Yeah. Okay, well, well, you vote with Obama. What do you want me to say? Right. The hard thing for Begich, and the reason that he really lost, was Republicans were able to put in very simple terms why Begich was a bad representative of Alaska. If you can do that and you can't distract people from that fact, it's really hard to win. So it was with this candidate, with the race that this candidate ran, Dan Sullivan, Begich didn't have a chance. But any kind of distractions, they had $30 million with which to blow your distractions completely up. The Alaska Dispatch would have blown them up. KTUU, KTVA, Newsfinder.
I don't know. Margie Johnson's a big deal over there, and she's not as savvy as Alice Rogoff, and she allows her affections. She's like the number 2 gal over there, and she loves Dan Sullivan. There's a lot of pictures of her with Dan Sullivan on her Facebook page.
Are you talking about KTUU or
no? Margie Sullivan, Alice Rogoff's assistant over at ADN.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know that they were much for Begich. I don't know that they were. It didn't seem to me in their coverage. I thought Nat Hertz did a fair Midland job. The only real bone to pick I had with him is when Begich ran that horrific commercial. The headlines read as though it was Sullivan and Begich.
Yeah, it requested that the thing came down. Of course, Begich a couple of days late, and he ran the ad.
Yeah, so I thought that was a real bad headline. But I don't think that the ADN really was that unfair on the Senate race.
They didn't get into it, but I do think that if they had been given any kind of sunlight, any kind of opening, if there had been any mistake, a 17th Amendment repeal, whatever it would have been, if he would have made a mistake.
Well, now if Joe Miller had run,
I don't even know if it was Joe Miller. I think they might have got Meade Treadwell. I really think that
because he's global warming.
I really think though that they would have used anybody who wasn't Dan Sullivan. I think they would have been very successful against. That's just my view. I thought Dan ran a fantastic campaign, and he was I think the military won this for Dan Sullivan. I really do.
It helped.
I look out because I saw, even in the Catholic Church, I thought Catholics were key. And by the way, Catholics changed their vote 9 percentage points over the last election.
From
last election, they were 55-45 vote Democrat. This time they're 54-45 vote conservative.
Wow.
Huge
change.
change.
The Senate race or all races?
I think that's in the Senate,
okay.
if I understood the statistic correctly.
Yeah.
So that's a huge change. And one of those changes came because there are a lot of Catholic military men who decided, okay, time for us to stand up.
Yeah.
That we've had enough.
Can we, and I know I'm going to say this since Bonnie isn't here, and using the Fagan and Biegel in the morning, Bonnie's off today, 569-1080. Joe Miller did not run a good campaign this time. He was left alone. The Daily News wanted, or the ADN.com wanted him to win. The media, the left-wing media wanted him to win the primary. So this idea that he won this great ran this that flyer, Glenn, if he'd have run that in the general,
end of the campaign.
That would have been the National Guard story day after day after day after day after day.
Okay, what it might have been was the worst political ad in the nation.
Yes.
Okay, they might have gotten off of "you love rapists and murder," and
Yes.
he wanted them to get out so he could do more of that to
Right.
Dan Sullivan, and it could very well have become the worst political ad, and he probably would have lost the race by, I don't know, 10, 15 points.
20.
Just on that one flyer. People don't understand how hard it is to run a campaign. Essentially, this is what people were complaining about. Dan Sullivan almost does the same thing.
Yes.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
When you know who your opponent is,
Yes.
when you know who they're allied with, when you know what they've done, then you keep saying the same thing because it bores people. And
Right.
frankly, all they know is, I know who I'm not going to vote for, and this guy seems okay.
And it really was Sullivan's to lose because Begich's negatives were already above 50%, even at the beginning of the campaign.
52%. That's
Yeah,
right.
so as long as Sullivan was cautious, disciplined, didn't try to rile anybody up, then
But a lot of
he was
people
gonna be
don't
fine.
understand that about politics. But here's my takeaway. A, the Democrats wasted tens of millions of dollars. That's my view of it. I'm glad that they did. It's going to be hard to raise money again next time. I think that they'll have an easy time raising money for Begich. But all the statewide races that they spent vast, vast sums of money on, I think a lot of that stuff is going to be harder. A, because the state's not going to have that much money to spend. But B, to give unions so that they can spend money on these races. B, my second takeaway is Dan Sullivan turned out to be the perfect candidate to beat Mark Begich. He ran the perfect campaign, and he was just boring enough so that
Treadwell would have beat him too, though.
I don't know.
Oh, I do. I think so. Maybe not. 644, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Monty Cameron off today. Here's our number, 569-1080. 569-1080. Broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT, streaming video, danfagan.us. KVNT, streaming video, danfagan.us.
You're on with Fagan. 1080 KOAN.
Parking space 105A. To many, it's just 130 square feet of publicly allotted tarmac. Unless you own a 2014 Mercedes-Benz CLA. With its muscular, seductive look and distinctive diamond block grille, that parking space is transformed into a stage that showcases to others what groundbreaking style can be. And as you pull away, thanks to the turbocharged inline-4 engine, parking space 105A transforms again, this time into a launching pad. See the world differently. See it in a CLA from Mercedes-Benz, whose vehicles retain their value better than any other premium brand, according to ALG. Get the 2014 CLA 254 Matic starting at just $31,900.
MSRP for 2014 CLA 254 Matic excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, while availability and actual dealer price may vary. Some equipment described as optional. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
Being a business owner isn't easy. There's managing people, customers, income, expenses, unexpected issues, growing your brand, and so much more. Ready to be more efficient in everything you do? Then listen to Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Each week, David gives you the inside scoop on the latest business news and trends, along with tools for keeping your business on track. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
Hey, if you think all you need to know about beer is how to pop the top off the can, go to worldclassbeer.com. There's a whole world of beer out there, and worldclassbeer.com can help you navigate it. Learn the difference between an ale and a lager at Beer U. Get descriptions of all the craft beers and learn why they're so different. And when you see one you'd like to try, the Beer Spy Locator can direct you to the closest store. Worldclassbeer.com, designed to help you get closer to your beer. Brought to you by the Odom Corporation. Always drink responsibly.
Hot Talk K.
6:47 in the morning, Monday morning. A little chilly out there. November 17th. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel broadcasting to you on KOAN, KVNT, streaming on danfagan.us. Here's the number, 569-1080. 569-1080. I don't know, Glenn, what to make of this guy, Barack Hussein Obama.
President, I believe.
He's the president of these United States of America. I just don't know what to think of this guy. I go from thinking he's the most. I go from thinking he's stupid, just literally a dumb dude.
Yeah.
To thinking he's stubborn, to thinking he's evil, to thinking he's just hates conservatives so bad and hates America so bad that he'll do anything to destroy it. So I changed my mind on the guy. If this man, Glenn, decides to say to the American people, I will appoint myself, and he's already done that. You know, you can't pass a law like Obamacare and then arbitrarily change it 30 times. So he's already passed the I will be a tyrant and you'll like it stage. But to say that I'm going to not enforce immigration laws, and I'm going to grant amnesty for however many the latest number is, clearly in the face of Congress, and despite what the Constitution allows him to do, I don't know what to make of that. And I'm curious what I really want to know is, there's a couple of things to watch for. That are the weak-kneed, scared to death Republicans going to man up and take this guy on for fear of losing favor with the American people in 2 years with the presidential election? Is the media going to finally say, okay, all right, we don't really like conservatives, but this guy's out of control. We got to start covering him now.
Okay, that one for sure won't happen.
So to me, what the Republicans can do, what should they do? So you rule out the media doing anything.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I don't take the Republicans as weak-kneed against the president. This entire election was a mandate to stop this man.
Yes. Yes.
Your job is not to work with him.
Yes.
It's not to be bipartisan with him. It's not to figure out how to just give a little bit less than the Democrats would give. It's to stop him.
Yes.
Put yourself in the way of that tank.
Yes.
Right? Place yourself in harm's way. Get in front of this president and stop him under every circumstance with every ounce of your energy. That's what they were hired to do. Now, I don't think they're confused about that.
I hope not.
I don't think they're confused about that at all. So I do think they got that message. Now, the real question is, and this is why Democrats are so dangerous to have in office, because our system of government has sort of morphed itself over time, with the executive branch taking more power. Then the Democrats figured out, we're not going to be able to keep a 60-person Senate majority. We need to hand as much power over in Obamacare as we can to the executive branch. And this is why Democrats are so dangerous. They don't fear the government. To them, the government is what gives good things. The government gives us health care. The government gives us retirement. The government...
The more power, the better.
The more power, the better. The more power in the bureaucrats' hands, the better. And so that's why they're so dangerous. But here's what this president figured out. I'm going to have the supermajority in the House, led by Nancy Pelosi, and the supermajority in the Senate, which is filibuster-proof, grant me the authority to govern however I want. And that's largely what the Democrats have done. So here's the difficulty I have. I don't know what it is the Republicans can do. I'm not a constitutional scholar.
Well, let's take the most dramatic, impeachment.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
If they had something very specific, in other words, that you could say...
The very act is an impeachable act.
Well, I don't know if it's against the law.
Well, sure it is.
I don't know that it's against the law. No, I don't want to know. Of course it is. I want to know this is against this law right here.
Jonathan Hurley, the most leftist constitutional scholar in the land, says if he issues a executive order granting amnesty going around the Congress, it is absolutely impeachable.
Okay.
Well, now, you'll be able to find Eric Holder or Sonia Matiar or whatever her name is.
Sonia Sotomayor.
You can always find some leftists who literally don't care about anything.
Right.
But even people like Jonathan Hurley, who's the other guy? Horowitz, a lot of these leftists say absolutely.
Okay, as long as it can be described in one sentence, and we have a solid majority of Americans.
Well, the media won't go along.
Well, the problem is the media doesn't have as much power as they used to.
I hope not, Glenn.
Right, because when Tom Brokaw or whoever comes on, I know that's like 25 years ago.
Yeah.
But whoever comes on the nightly news and they talk, everybody knows, okay, liberal filter on.
Right.
This is not the view of what's actually going on. Right. This is the view of a left-winger who has left-wing writers, who's got left-wing reporters who are going out and finding me left-wing information.
Well, not to sidetrack too much, but here's to your point on the medium. I went on the ADN.com like 3 days ago, said, how come the only place I can read about Gruber is in Paul Jenkins' column in Fox News and Talk Radio in Anchorage? Why haven't any of the TV stations? And then a couple days ago, someone went on there and said, I've seen it everywhere. Well, yes, you're now beginning to see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Because the conservative media has now become so powerful that it is forcing the left. When a guy says, we lied to you about Obamacare, and
you're stupid enough, and we depended on you being
stupid. And the left-wing media tries for 3 or 4 days to cover it up, and then eventually they can't because it's all anybody's talking about. It's on everybody's Facebook page. That's when you know the left-wingers are losing their power.
Now, there's a word phrase that you use there that I think doesn't accurately describe who actually has the power.
All right.
It's not conservative media.
Okay.
It's the internet. And the internet is not conservative media. The internet is an ability for people to get information that they want.
Okay.
And because talk radio wouldn't have been enough. We only have Fox News. It's just not enough. What is enough is somebody who's 24 years old, who's just got their degree and can't get a job or a job for more than $10 an hour, going out on the internet and saying, what happened?
Yeah.
How come I can only get 29 hours a week?
Yeah.
And I'm only getting paid minimum wage? What are the answers here? My parents didn't have to go through this. People 15 years ago didn't have to go through this. I want an answer. The power is in the fact that people can go out and get the answers that they want, and they don't have to believe Tom Brokaw. They don't have to believe conservative media either, and largely they don't.
Let's look at the Gruber story. Now, Paul Jenkins is a conservative columnist, not socially, but otherwise. That name Gruber would have never appeared in ADN.com if it were not for Jenkins.
It wouldn't even have existed in their lives. They've been like, what?
Who's Jonathan Gruber?
Yeah. People say crazy stuff all the time.
But if you belong to Facebook, if you read the internet, if you go to Drudge, if you go to cnsnews.com, townhall.com, breitbart.com,
Newsmax,
there's a gazillion of them now.
Sure.
And even if you don't go to them, if you have a Facebook page, you're going to see them. And all you have to do, let's say you're a 25-year-old and independent, and you read on there, architect of Obamacare admits Americans are stupid, that's why it passed. You're going to click on that story. I want to know about that.
Yeah.
And did you see the latest clip, Glenn?
This is the fourth one? Because he's had 4 of them, right?
Where now Obama was in on the room when they were talking about Americans being stupid. Obama was in there.
Yeah.
And Obama had come out a couple of days prior to that saying, this Gruber guy, he wasn't one of us. He was just an advisor. He was in the room.
Yeah.
So.
You asked me, by the way, at the beginning, what I thought of Obama.
Yeah.
I just think he's a Democrat. He's a Democrat like Mark Begich. He's a Democrat like Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi. There's no difference in large measure. And Mark Begich had to be for Anwar, even though he believes in global warming. And even though he says that's one of the most important issues of our time, even though so he figures out, well, this is what I have to do, and then this is what I can do. Barack Obama is doing exactly the same thing. In essence, my concern for Democrats, they're not worried about transmitting liberty from generation to generation, because liberty's messy.
569-1080. 569-1080.
Liberty's messy, and Democrats don't like messy. People make a mistake, and they have a difficulty in their life, and then they've got to figure out how to pick themselves up by their bootstraps, and largely our country depends on that. Well, they don't like that. They want to figure out, okay, well, let me give you a bureaucrat. He'll help you go through this process, not your family, not the YMCA, not your church, not a local organization or group. The bigger the organization, the bigger the group, the larger it is, the further away it is from the people, the better it is. So I worry that this president just like all the other Democrats, he realizes one thing. I learned this from watching management. Management creates its own reality. In other words, you have a bunch of employees who say, well, look, we can't implement this software system. Management comes in and says, you will implement the software system. Your jobs depend on it. Here's how you're going to do it, and here's your deadline and your timeline. You know what just happened? Reality just changed. Now, this is what Barack Obama and Mark Begich and all these guys knew. They knew they weren't going to be able to keep 60. They may not even in the Senate. They may not even be able to keep a majority, which they just lost. Their bet was, we'll never lose 40. That was their bet. And I don't know how that's going to turn out. So because
40 gives them...
Because as long as they have 40, they can prevent the repeal of this.
And it's like they're in control of the Senate.
Right. And so, in essence, what they said was, well, we're going to do this, and even though it's going to hurt us long term, it will translate millions of people into wards of the state for their health care. And that is worth everything. That is worth everything.
Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, KOAN, KVNT, 569-1080. Give us a call. 569-1080, time 6:59. 569-1080, time 6:59.
December 13th, 2014 is a very special day for a number of reasons. It's the last consecutive date that we will experience in our lifetimes. 12, 13, 14. And it's very special because Connect Country Liquor is having a customer appreciation all because of you. To honor you and this very special day, we will individually give away 12 bottles of Crown Royal, 13 bottles of premium wine, and 14 cases of beer. Just enter to win. We will draw for these prizes on December 13th and make many of our loyal customers very happy winners. Shop and enter to win at any or all of our locally owned and operated tax-free locations. Mile 49 Parks Highway, Mile 4.5 Connect Goose Bay Road, Palmer Wasilla Highway at Four Corners, and Cubby's Market, Mile 98.5 Parks Highway. We think you're pretty special every day, not just 12, 13, 14. No particular purchase necessary.
Keeping the valley in good spirits, yeah. Connect Country Liquor, oh yeah. KKL.
You're listening to Hot Talk, KOAN, Anchorage, AM 1080, and retranslated on 95.1 FM on K236CG, Anchorage.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. His wife says she's grateful for the effort to save her husband's life, but a doctor who got Ebola in Africa has died in Nebraska. Fox News Radio's Jeff Manasso has more live.
Dave, 44-year-old surgeon Dr. Martin Salia of Maryland contracted Ebola in his native Sierra Leone while treating patients there, first showing symptoms on November 6th and testing positive for the disease 1 week ago. Salia was transferred from West Africa to a biocontainment unit at Nebraska Medical Center in Omaha, where doctors say Salia was critical and that despite their best efforts were unable to save him. Now, 2 of 10 people treated for Ebola in the U.S. have died the disease, killing thousands more in West Africa. Dave.
And Jeff, Red Cross officials say that it's getting harder to recruit healthcare workers to West Africa to combat Ebola. A 33rd death just been linked to faulty ignition switches on GM cars as GM extends the deadline for victims' families to apply for compensation until January 31st. GM's long-delayed recall of those switches led to a government fine and congressional probe. They're mourning Peter Kassig's murder in Indiana.
It just saddens me that people are hiding behind religion, their violence.
The Reverend Charles Harrison, Kassig's parents, while heartbroken, praised their son's humanitarian work in Syria before he was kidnapped. ISIS showed his severed head on video. Fox News Radio's Emily Wither live in our Middle East Bureau.
This was their longest hostage video yet, clocking in at 16 minutes, and also featured the killing of about a dozen men identified as Syrian soldiers, all dressed in blue jumpsuits. One of the black-clad militants warns that U.S. soldiers will meet a similar fate. What it doesn't show is threats to kill another Western hostage, as previous videos have. Peter Kassig was the 5th Western hostage to be killed and first appeared on tape in October. ISIS is still holding a 26-year-old American woman they captured last year. Dave?
This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Big Green Fever savings are back at John Deere. Save on all tractors from the 1 family to the Big 6 Series with 0% financing for 60 months or big cash discounts. Plus, get $1,500 off a 1 family Tractor with the purchase of 2 implements. Offer ends February 2nd, 2015, subject to approved installment credit with John Deere Financial. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Visit your local John Deere dealer today to take advantage of special savings going on now. Find out more at myjohndeeredealer.com.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
May I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home. It's called Power Swabs.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, and if you want to whiten your teeth 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. Just swab your teeth and you're done. Try Power Swabs risk-free by calling 1-800-663-1592. That's 1-800-663-1592. 1-800-663-1592.
Oh, yeah, it's game day. I love football. He could go all the way. He's at the 10, the 5, touchdown. Man, that's why I love football. There's nothing better. Well, except maybe free buffalo wings from Sicily's. Call 333-8000 right now and ask for free buffalo wings. Buy any extra large 2-topping pizza at regular price and get 10 free buffalo wings. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Enjoy hot, fresh pizza and Italian food. Call 333-8000 or order online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacres.com. It's showtime, movie times, previews, and more.
Get tickets, win some.
Lots of information to explore.
Great restaurants.
Now you'll know just where to go before and after every show. Check out moviesacres.com. It's showtime.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way.
We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555. On Hot Talk KOAN.
Six minutes past 7 o'clock. Good morning to you on the 17th day of November 2014. Thanksgiving a week from this upcoming Thursday. We're glad you're here. Dan Fagan here. Glen Biegel right over there. Bonnie Cameron off today. Our call letters, KOAN in Anchorage. KVNT out in the valley. We're streaming live on the big fancy interweb. danfagan.us. danfagan.us. We were talking earlier about the dissemination of information and how things have changed in this country. I'm so optimistic about the future of this country and this state in particular, because I do believe that the stranglehold the left has had on the media and the control of the information that's disseminated is cracking. We have a guest coming on at 7:30. It's a surprise guest.
Hmm.
And she holds one of the keys to this, spreading out the information. Amanda Coyne, another perfect example. What a difference Amanda Coyne made in this last election.
Wow. She still does, by the way.
She still does.
She's not even in the state. She's reporting more information in her column daily than the entire Alaska Dispatch News.
And here's the beauty of it, Glenn. You and me and Amanda Coyne probably agree on nothing. I honestly don't think there's a thing that her and I and you agree on. Because she's left of center, we're right of center.
Yeah.
But we respect
You really
her work.
don't think we agree on anything?
I don't think so.
That the YMCA is a good organization?
I don't think the YMCA is a good organization.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay. Well, then you and I don't agree, but what about she and I?
Okay, you and her agree. Yeah, I don't like, they're left-wingers. I don't like the YMCA.
All right.
I don't like the United Way either. They give a bunch of cash to the most evil organization on the planet.
Yeah.
Planned Parenthood. I have some very weird. If I could never win if there was a dog election for dog catcher, I'd get 2% of the vote.
Mm-hmm.
If I were honest,
people would hide their dogs.
They would.
You'd be the most effective dog catcher ever.
That's right. So that's good. That's encouraging. So that I'm always looking for things that we can rally around as victories.
Young people hate to be told what to think.
Another big thing that's big.
Yes.
The shift in young people and the way they voted Republican this time.
That's right.
Well, you've got in life, as you go through ups and downs and you suffer defeats and you win victories, you have to focus on the victories and how to continue to get those. You can't dwell on the defeats. You don't ignore them. You learn from your past mistakes. You try not to repeat the activity that got you the defeat. But I think that's so much of life. You focus on the victories. What's going right? The fact that many more people now look at abortion as something that's bad and shouldn't be done than did 10, 15 years ago. That's a huge victory.
Yeah, they know what it is.
They know what it is.
I don't only like to focus on victories. What I like to do is figure out why things happen. And in that, you look for future victories. That is why I'm so dedicated this time to figuring out what it is that Native Alaskans want that they don't think Republicans are offering. And there's a very good reason for this, by the way, and this is going to sound, I don't know, just different, probably different than you've ever heard a conservative talk. I know that my livelihood is threatened by the Democrats. My faith, my First Amendment, freedom, with net neutrality, with the FCC wanting to do the fairness doctrine. Look, the left has no problem investing within government the ability to shut up conservatives. They're not worried about it. It doesn't bother them. All the NSA reviews that have been going on. If George Bush had done anything like this, of course the left would be completely freaked out. It doesn't even merit a mention.
So back to the
Okay, so back to what I'm trying to do with Native populations. I really want to know what it is that they want. What I understand that they want now is they want sovereignty.
Do we know what percentage of the Native vote Mr. Sullivan got? Do we have any idea?
No, I don't know. His wife, by the way, is Alaskan Native.
And his children.
Well,
I looked at all the precincts in Bush, and I was shocked at how many votes he got. He didn't win many. I think there were a couple he won.
Yeah.
But I expected it to be 120 to 3.
But this goes back again to why I think he might have been the only candidate who could have beat Biegel. And that's because his wife is Alaska Native. His children are Alaska Native. It's that big of a deal.
So Alaska Natives are going to vote for a guy just because their wife is of the same nationality?
I think so. I
Ethnicity,
think some of that is going on here.
Why?
Well,
have you ever voted for anybody just because they're white?
Never. Or not black or anything like that.
You've never taken race into account.
It makes no difference to me. One of my best friends when I was young was black. I don't really get all this. I've never been in the South, so I don't really understand.
You know what percentage of
racial animus?
African Americans voted for Barack Obama first time?
I think it was 97%. 98%. So obviously there are people who say you have my skin color, you understand where I'm coming from, or whatever, which is to me is strange.
Why?
And sad.
Well, why? Why would anybody vote based on race?
I don't know. It's sad. I think it's the way that they were brought up, my guess is. Look, the Democrats have created tens of millions of victims in the United States of America and convinced them that your skin color, right, how much melanin is in your skin, somehow defines you.
And it's even worse.
Or that other people care how much melanin is in your skin, and not whether or not you'll show it to work on time, or whether or not you're respectful, and whether or not you do a good job. Nobody cares about it anymore.
And it goes even further than that, Glenn.
Not nobody, but almost nobody.
Within the black community, the darker skinned people are looked down upon the lighter skin.
Huh.
And then it graduates. As the darker you are, the more prestige you have. What is that all about?
I don't know. It's crazy. But it gets back to basically the point I'm making about natives. If they want sovereignty, and I would never have said this 10 years ago, because I always thought, we are going to be one nation under God. This is what I realized. The threat for the socialists and the Democrats, the threat from Mark Begich and Harry Reid, is so strong, it freaks me out so much. They so little care about my Fourth Amendment rights and Second Amendment rights and First Amendment rights. I'm willing to partner basically with anybody who will allow me to keep my First, Second, Fourth, Fifth, Ninth, and 10th Amendment rights. And I almost don't care what it is that they want.
As long as they're going to keep those three rights.
As long as they'll keep my ability to speak, right, and all of these other things. And so if they want sovereignty and they want control over their lands, and I would never have said this 10 years ago, I'll give it to you. If that allows me to have freedom of speech and freedom of religion, if you'll stop supporting Democrats, and I know that they've never heard this from a conservative before, so this is completely freaking them out.
So you believe that's what Alaska Natives want? They want
that is what I'm told.
Secession from the United States.
That is what I'm told. And frankly, because I know my First Amendment is almost gone.
So Alaska would no longer be part of the United States. You would give up Alaska.
I will give up the vast areas of land, the 11% of Alaska that they have control over, and let them govern it and figure out how to get their own courts and all these other things. I know that we won't survive this. The socialist left is so strong. This is what I'm told. I just am ready to have a conversation. What I'm saying here, which is new, which people have not heard from a conservative before.
I've not heard this.
Is I'm willing to have a conversation. I realize that my First, Second, and Fourth Amendment rights are almost out the window, and that I need you, and that if you won't, if I could understand why you're voting and how you're voting, it will make us much stronger together.
Breaking news here: Glen willing to have Alaska secede from the nation, parts of it, if you stop supporting Begich. Calls backing up, 714, Fagan Beaglebot. If you stop supporting Begich. Calls backing up, 714, Fagan Beaglebot.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
Trail Boss Solutions is an Alaskan-owned, nationally recognized top 500 construction and remodel firm. With our award-winning kitchen designs and remodels, Trail Boss Solutions is fully licensed, bonded, and insured, and has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion, on time and on budget. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1403.
Hey, Bob, how's business? Is the new website helping?
Not good. I can't figure out how to get the website finished. How did you do it?
Easy. I called Web.com. They built my website for free. Then they promoted it on all the search engines.
Like Google, Yahoo, and Bing?
Exactly. And Web.com has helped grow my business so much, I had to bring on new staff.
Hey, if Web.com did it for you, they're perfect for me.
Call now, 1-800-535-8815. That's 1-800-535-8815. Again, 1-800-535-8815.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. K.
All right, here we go. 7:17. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel. Breaking news. Glen Biegel has decided that he is so concerned about the Democrats taking away the Fourth Amendment, the Second Amendment, and the First Amendment. Fourth Amendment is basically your home and your property and not invade. Second Amendment, right to bear arms. First Amendment, freedom of speech.
Freedom of religion, freedom of assembly.
The idea that the Democratic Party will eventually erode all those freedoms, and I could not agree more. Glenn is reaching out to the Native community with an olive branch, saying, what do you want to stop supporting these Democrats who are going to take away our freedoms? Do you want full sovereignty? Do you want to secede from the nation? Do you want native land to come under your own sovereignty and jurisdiction? You as a conservative would be in favor of voting for that if you'd stop supporting the likes of Lisa Murkowski, Mark Begich, Barack Obama, and folks who are going to take away our freedoms. That's your basic point.
Yeah, and this is very new, by the way, and I'm sure it's a shock to most people to listen to, because we all listen to our Pledge of Allegiance to say one nation under God. They don't want to live that way. They being natives. This is what I'm told. Not all of them, not all native peoples, but frankly enough of them to elect Democrats in the state of Alaska. What I'm trying to figure out, by the way, is one key question. What is essential for liberty?
But isn't it possible, Glenn? Now let me play, and we're going to take some calls here. I got Joe up next, 569-1080 if you want to jump in. Isn't it possible that the Alaska Native leadership in Alaska is saying to us, we feel like we've lost our power. White people control the state. White people even control some Native corporations. White people have kept us out of the loop. We want to be involved in the decision-making process. We want some power. We want to stop being second-class citizens. What would you say to that? If that was their demands, what would you say?
Well, no one should be a second-class citizen, and I don't believe that is the case on lands that we would both be on jointly. And if they feel that that's the way that it is, this is what I would say. I realize how bad it is out in Bush, Alaska. And I'm willing to look at every possible solution and scenario in order for Bush, Alaska to do better. And if you think that it'll do better, frankly, having everybody under the same set of laws, it hasn't fixed anything. Having us in control of lands, it hasn't fixed anything. So I realize that the solutions which have been offered so far by the state of Alaska, which has largely been run by conservatives, have not benefited.
Well, you got Tony Knowles in there for a long time, and you got Sarah Palin in there for a long time. So not a lot of concern.
Well, she governed the state and state lands as a conservative.
What I think the natives would say is, look, this is our land. We have been here for generations. You've been here for 50, 60 years. We want to be able to have special preference when it comes to subsistence, hunting, and fishing, because it is our lifestyle. It is who we are as a people. It is not some guy moving up here from Iowa because he likes to catch big fish, and all of a sudden he has same privileges and rights to the subsistence hunting and fishing that we've been accustomed to generationally.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a huge issue.
So what would you say to that?
I say I'm willing to talk about it. Yeah, no. If
you stop supporting Democrats,
allows us to keep a First Amendment, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, and that's what you want, and that is what will allow us to keep our First Amendment, I'm willing to partner with you.
So you'd give up special treatment for Alaska Natives over...
It wouldn't be on all lands. It would probably be on native lands. Look, I don't mind. I have always been in favor of a subsistence preference, and we have always had a subsistence preference.
Subsistence preference for whom?
Urban,
native,
for
non-native?
all use. People probably don't understand this, and this is a big conversation, but we give preferences by type, not by race or location. By type of use.
Right.
First, we give preference to subsistence.
Right.
If there's any problem with the resource, subsistence
People
users
actually live off of the...
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Right.
That's the first use.
But they don't want that. They want it off. They want native, non-native preference.
They want a native, non-native preference.
Right.
And I'll
willing to go for
I'll
that.
grant them control over their lands. They can give whatever preferences
We got a lot
they want.
of calls here. Back it up. Let me get to them. 569-1080. Glen Biegel here. Dan Fagan. We're on KOAN, KVNT. 569-1080. That's the number if you'd like to be a part of the broadcast. Let's go to Joe. Joe, you're on.
Thank you, Dan. Hello, Glenn.
Hi.
You did point out, I was going to say, and that's subsistence. The natives up here are frustrated with big game guides cleaning out the pockets of game that are, like a hunting party of natives, they'll spend weeks out there, and here comes an airplane on floats. They do some spotting. Their clients, they land. Their clients jump out of the plane. They take out the game. They're not interested in the meat. They want the horns. And then they go back to the States, and this is a big problem because Alaska's game stocks have been diminished because we have a really, really bad board of game.
Well, I would disagree, I guess, with each and everything you said. First of all, natives don't spend weeks going out and finding things. They have just as modern techniques in finding game as the most expensive
They
game
don't
guide
own any of those planes
around.
at Birchwood Airport.
Secondly, you're not allowed to take game and not use every part of it. You can't just get the horns. You have to use all of it. So that doesn't happen either. But
the guides get the game then, or the meat.
You can't give away the meat, and you
Yes,
have to.
you can.
These are limited entry permit.
Are you a hunter?
Almost everywhere around the state is limited entry permit hunting. So,
Glenn, are you a hunter?
No.
Okay, I am. I'm out in the field all the time.
So you've witnessed
normally you would see
people going out for weeks looking for game.
Yeah, like this year, I was in Glen Allen 7 times, go on my way to Clutina Lake. But anyway, the vehicles coming back, you see caribou and moose horn racks on the tops of their trucks and trailers. And
you just said always, by the way, and I happen to know several members of my family who went out and got game this year.
There's some successful hunters.
So I'm just saying, you keep using always, you keep using these outrageous, crazy situations where the native people are the only people who don't have access to an airplane. That's just not true.
The game stocks have been knocked down so far that it's hard to get game anymore. Your friends were lucky. There is some successful hunters, but the guy that gets out, that don't own the airplane, loads up the truck, goes out the road, spend a week out there, not getting nothing, man. There's not as much game in Alaska, Glenn, as there used to be.
Yeah, I think in some areas that's true, and some game reserves that's true. But what's the Board of Game doing? And I guess it will change, by the way, under Walker, is maybe what you're thinking.
They are allowing hunters to shoot cows, females, and those are the reproducers. And if you keep shooting those caribou, those female caribou and moose,
well, that requires,
you're not going to have nothing.
That requires a female hunt requires a local organization to request that authority. It doesn't just happen. They don't allow people to do that by law, other than by special.
No, they've been shooting the females so much, and then they blame it on the wolves. That's why all the game's gone. And well, there's no wolves left now either. Maybe one, and they're going to blame it on that very last one.
Joe, I don't know that I'm getting a lot out of the conversation. Look, you can't go and shoot a female. Everybody knows that unless there's a local
my neighbor
request.
Across the street got one.
But unless there's a local
but Joe,
request.
back to the original point.
What's your point?
That Glenn is trying to make here, which is he's willing to make some concessions to the Native community if they would come to the understanding that a lot of these Democrats are so anti-freedom that we're not going to have a country if they keep supporting them. What do you say to that?
I don't really understand the question. All I know is the natives that I know and the complaints that I hear is that the natives are not getting the game like they used to. They don't have the technology to get the game.
Why do Alaska natives Now, what does race have to do with the ability to acquire technology?
Because they like to hunt their own the way they always hunted. Get out on your feet and walk out there in the woods and hunt instead of flying an airplane, running down the game with airplanes.
So that's by choice then?
Yeah, and that Birchwood Airport, there must be hundreds.
That makes no sense. I mean, if it's by choice, it's their choice. So I don't understand your point. 569-1080, 569-1080. That's the number if you'd like to join into the broadcast. Let's go to Tom. Tom, you're on.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. You're not going to be able to debate a person like that. Anyone who says there's one wolf left is just, well, the guy's an idiot. My question to Mr. Glen would be, I've lived here for 51 years. I was born and raised here. So that means I've probably lived here maybe longer than maybe half of all the natives living in Alaska. I'm assuming, not all of them maybe half of them are over 51. So why would they have any more right to anything in this state than me? And I'm not arguing or anything. I've wanted to ask that question to somebody who actually can answer it. I've never got an answer for that. Why should anyone who's not lived here, I was born and raised here, because I'm not a member of a native tribe or a native council or something, but why can't I have the same hunting rights as any other native or anyone else living in Alaska who's lived here less than me?
Well, Tom, I'll let Glenn answer it, but I think what they would probably say is that generationally
But where do you stop that? Then where's the cutoff? 4 generations, 50, 20, I'm second generation. So there's 100 years of, 86 years of Alaskan, 86 years, long before this became a state. I guess, and again, I have nothing but the highest respect for everyone on your team, in your studio. I'm not arguing with you, but I'm just, what is that cutoff?
Well, Tom, I'll tell you, it's a great question. Unfortunately, I'm going to get some break. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere, because I'm gonna have Glenn address that here in a minute. Glenn, what would you say? You want to give special rights to natives for hunting and fishing if they stop supporting Democrats? Is that right? We'll ask Glenn that when we come back, and we'll continue with your phone calls. 569-1080. 569-1080. It's Fagan Biegel on KOAN, KVNT. 1080. It's Fagan Biegel on KOAN, KVNT.
And now, the Fox News Business Report, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
From the Fox Business Network, stocks are trading in a narrow range following 4 straight weeks of gains after Japan unexpectedly slid into recession in the third quarter. At around 11 a.m. Eastern, the Dow Industrials are down 5 points. But shares of Allergan are rallying after the Botox maker agreed to be bought by activists for $66 billion. The offer may signal the end of a 6-month effort by Valiant Pharmaceuticals and activist Bill Ackman to buy Allergan. In other deal news, Halliburton is buying Baker Hughes, a rival in the oil field services industry, for $34.6 billion. Baker Hughes shares are soaring. Tyson Foods is also rallying. The meat processor's fourth quarter adjusted earnings beat the estimate, although revenue fell short of expectations. And Pfizer's under pressure. The drug maker in Germany's Merck say they will work together to develop a new product to treat tumors. Pfizer cut its full-year earnings guidance because of the deal. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Lori Rothman.
Warning, you must have your solar system up and running by midnight December 31st, or you'll miss out on this year's federal tax credit. Energy prices are expected to increase by as much as 40% in the near future. Go solar now with no down payment, interest, or payments for a whole year. The door of opportunity is about to slam shut. Call 1-800-MY-SOLAR now for a free in-home assessment.
My home, my savings, 1-800-MY-SOLAR.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Alaska voters have approved the legalization of marijuana. But as Ann Kenda reports, a number of legal questions remain unsettled.
One of the biggest unsolved issues is whether transportation of marijuana by air or sea to Alaska communities off the road system will be considered legal. Such transportation is governed by federal law, and the federal government has not changed its marijuana laws. The University of Alaska has also said that because it receives federal funds, it needs to follow federal and not state laws on marijuana.
Officials at Providence Alaska Medical Center say it was an abundance of caution that led to a patient being tested for Ebola. The local hospital activated its Ebola preparedness plan after learning of the patient's symptoms and recent travel history. However, a test reportedly indicated it was not Ebola. Well, that's a freaking relief, put it lightly. That's your Hot Talk News update.
Mostly cloudy and warmer today with a couple of showers, high 36. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 26, and a mostly cloudy day tomorrow with a touch of rain in the afternoon, high of 40. Then in the evening, a shower in spots after temperatures rise above freezing, followed by periods of snow and rain late tomorrow night. Accumulation of approaching to an inch low, around 30. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Just 10 miles north of the entrance to Denali Park is the town of Healing. It's got beautiful scenery, abundant wildlife, clean air, and Alaska's largest coal mine. Now you're probably wondering, can a coal mine operate in harmony with a national park? Ask the locals. They'll tell you it can, and it has for decades. Healy has been home to Usabelli Coal Mine since 1943, but you can hardly tell there's a coal mine nearby. That's because every summer, Usabelli employees roll up their sleeves and plant thousands of trees on lands that were once mined for coal. Within a few years, the land is restored to a natural state, ideal habitat for Alaskans of every species. Usabelli Coal Mine, restoring Alaska to the way we found it.
Local news, weather, and the Dan Fagan Glen Biegel Show on Hot Talk, KOAN, brought to you by Connect Country Liquor, with 4 convenient locations in the Valley and Talkeetna. You won't find a better selection.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything, from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Here's my good friend, Keith Montronock.
Automotive repairs can be frustrating. Let me help. Call 349-1637. I have been in business for nearly 20 years at the same location. Specialty Truck and Auto is in South Anchorage behind the Long Branch Saloon where Diamond becomes Abbott. I have 6 ASE certified technicians working from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. I have a voucher for any of the 6 Alaska Laser Wash locations for each customer. If you schedule ahead and need a ride when you drop your vehicle off, I may be able to help. Call Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637.
Hot Talk, KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
All right, 7:35, 17th day of November, 2014. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron off today. Our number 569-1080, where Glenn has raised an interesting olive branch. He's frustrated with the Native community because they so heavily support people like Mark Begich and others who want to take away our freedom. And you're saying that if it meant you'd stop supporting non-freedom candidates, tell me if I'm misarticulating this, that you would be willing to give them whatever they wanted, even if it meant sovereignty from the United States, total anonymity on native lands, sovereignty, special treatment when it came to subsistence rights. Whatever they want, you'd give it to them if they'd stop supporting the likes of Mark Biegel.
No, definitely not whatever you want, because you don't want a solution that's worse than the problem.
Well, let's start because we got Tom on the line. Tom, who's
Hey,
who's
Tom,
been
are
here
you still?
50? He's here for 51 years.
Okay, well,
Now,
here's my view.
Let me set it up. For
Okay,
people just joining us.
All right.
Tom's saying if you give native special rights for hunting and fishing, that it's wrong because he's been here 51 years, and he's been here longer than a lot of Alaskan natives. He's second-generation Alaskan. So, Glenn, you'd be willing to give special rights to Alaska natives when it comes to subsistence hunting and fishing if it meant they'd stop supporting anti-freedom candidates like Mark Biegel and Matt Clayman and all these guys?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't give them whatever they wanted. What I guess I'm willing to accept is that the federal law is going to stand. And what the federal law says, which is our governing law right now, what the federal law says is that there is a rural